everybody to another exciting edition of Transformers Reviews. I am your host, MJLee29, and today, as you can tell by this very fancy box, the likes of which I have never seen before, Transformers Unite Warriors 06 Grand Galvatron. And, well, let's get to see what was inside of this box. Ooh, look at that. Something even more fancy. Look at that artwork, guys. Yeah, soak that up for a second. And of course, here we are with this wonderful box, and you can see down here is the Wandering Roller. Very prominently in the foreground is the Prime Breakdown, and then of course you have Armada Thrust over here forming this arm, and then you have G1 Ghost Starscream. Which, if he's a ghost, how can he form a solid, legitimate arm? I mean, the hand is obviously solid, and so is the cannon, but never mind that. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, you can see the cannon over here, Galvatron's cannon charging up, looking like he's getting ready to blast something, which is his MO. Now, something cool about this artwork is also that these guys' vehicle modes are featured in the background of this artwork, which is really strange, but hey, I can roll with that. If you look here, very prominently right here is, of course, Cyclonus. We come over here, this is Armada Thrust, based on the shape of what we know as vehicle mode looks like. And then, of course, over here for Starscream, it's something a little special. They kind of have this one a little ghosted out, which that's pretty cool. And then over here, if you look, you can actually see here is Breakdown with the truck shape, and then here's Roller. So that's pretty cool. I love the artwork on this. It's pretty wicked. Now on the top you just have this framework artwork in the shape of Galvatron's head. And let's take a look right here. This gives you an idea of what Grand Galvatron will look like. I think it's pretty hilarious at this point they still have to show that you can make any of these limbs another limb. But anyway, and guys, I'm going to just let you know right now that this will be a multi-part video, because as you see there are 5 components, technically 6 Transformers if you can't count Grand Galvatron. Which in this video we'll go ahead and talk about, we'll look at Grand Galvatron. If you want to see a breakdown of Cyclonus, Starscream, Thrust, Roller, or Breakdown, you can click one of my other videos that I will have dedicated to them individually. Like I said, this one's going to be focusing on Galvatron himself. So, anyway, we'll get to kind of see this a little bit more whenever I have them all put together. But I wanted to point this out because here in the artwork, it's a really good illustration of it. That this version of Cyclonus, whenever they have him in torso mode to help form Galvatron, it is actually inspired by the 1980s Galvatron toy itself. The coloration and the design and the paint apps and stuff like that. I actually had the 86 Galvatron, and so I was kind of taken aback by that at first when I saw it. So, but hey, I mean that's cool. I think I like the stock Galvatron as it's more, its colors are more closely based on its animation. Coloring and things like that. Now, one cool thing I got with this, I didn't know I was getting it, is actually they actually have a collector's coin for this, similar to what you get with a Masterpiece, ironically enough. And it's really weird because when I saw this, even though this is the coloring, like I said, of the 80s Galvatron, it kind of looked like Starscream. You know, like here's the jet cockpit, here's the wings, you know, and here's the rest of the torso. But it is Galvatron. I mean, we can tell. And what's cool about this version is, as you unfold it to look at the coin, it's like pieces of his armor are opening up to his spark chamber. Like if you open this up, boom, that's pretty cool. And where his spark would be is where the coin is for Galvatron, which that's cool. You know, here's his spark chamber and stuff, and it even folds down any more to show you he is a Decepticon through and through. So that's pretty legit. Alright, well, you came here to see the big boy himself, so let's go ahead and get him out of his packaging and take a look at him in person. Well, what kind of a host would I be if I actually forgot to show you another cool feature of this box before we get to Galvatron himself? Or are we? Because there he is in his base 5 components. I think this is pretty legit. I mean, they are hounding the point home with this inner lid artwork they're hounding they're just, I can't say it any plainer. They're hounding the point home. Hey, look at who you got. So anyway, I think it's cool. I mean, obviously you have your Tactician Cyclonus there, and Ghost Screamer, Squid Head in vehicle mode. You have a Roller, and then of course you have Zombie Breakdown, which he's not really a zombie. Anyway, alright, I'm sorry, I had to show that to you guys. I forgot to do that. So anyway, now we will get to Galvatron. Okay, so here we have Grand Galvatron all put together and everything, and I have to say I really like all the details and how well overall the color scheme that was chosen for Galvatron works. Now one thing I did want to mention is if you look at the chest, and I've already mentioned this before, and the head, even to somewhat of an extent, is actually inspired by the 1986 Galvatron figure that came out back then. So I thought that was, again, I think that's kind of a cool homage to that fact. But if you look, overall his colors do really work well together. Now he does have a lot of blues. You've got the blue from Breakdown, you've got the blue from Galvatron, even some of these blues on Starscream. But you also have a lot of grays and silvers. You've got the gray here to the chest, the legs, even worked with the silver down here, and even these grays and silver work well with this dark gray for thrust, which kind of helps offset the green, even though the blue and green are like right next to each other. But you know, the head sculpt has not been really changed. I love the red eyes on that, and I really am digging the cannon. Just all the little details and stuff that you can kind of see in there that you really didn't really have on the other guns. At least to my knowledge, I don't think there was. But I mean, you can get Galvatron in whatever kind of a pose you want to put him in. This is more of his more of his typical, MO type Galvatron pose. Now, I did want to mention I do have his wings flared out on the back, and I kind of like this back profile look. But the reason I do that is if you look at Galvatron straight on with the wings straight back, his waist is really kind of skinny. So this gives the illusion that he's not as actually skinny as he really is there. Plus, I just like the flared out wings and stuff. Excuse me. But overall, the limbs and stuff seem to be holding up really well. Starscream, I was really kind of worried about because clear plastic Transformers have not had a really good track record, but he seems to be holding up fine. All the other ones serving as limbs, they seem to be holding up well. And so the overall aesthetic of Grand Galvatron as a robot himself, I think works really well. Now let's compare him with the other. Let's compare Grand Galvatron with, as he's branded, Galvatronus. So here we have all the equivalent robot Transformers combined to form basically the same exact robot. So and if you notice on here, I mean it's the same chest, same head sculpt. But the cannon, like I mentioned, it doesn't have all that detailing of the other one. I mean, it has little bands here and there, but that's not really anything. So, which do you guys like better? I mean, tell me in the comments. Do you like Grand Galvatron better, or do you like Galvatronus? Now, I mean, granted, this looks more like his animation counterpart. So you've got the 86 toy inspiration and the animation inspiration. So, personally, I like Galvatronus better. And the reason, I'll tell you why, is his colors, like we already discussed, flow well and better together than Galvatronus over here. And the trick is, whenever you make a combiner, you have to help it not look like a Power Rangers Megazord. And Galvatron does it in either version here. But I think finally for Grand Galvatron, greater than the sum of his parts, I would say yes. Because this is a pretty sweet look overall. Anyway, the overall set, now that I've had a chance to kind of mess with it, would I recommend it? Yes. If it's something that you want to spring for, I wouldn't hesitate, because I think you're going to have a great time He makes such a great display piece as an overall robot, as we've already said. And if you look at my other reviews, they're going to follow this one. I'm going to go over the individual components, and you'll see how the cons and the pros and cons of the Decepticons that make up this guy. So anyway, that's it for this review. We will see you guys in another review.